Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Classified Captures. Steve here, and today we've got a wild lineup of clips ranging from strange trail cam captures to never-before-seen footage of cryptids that will blow your mind. Ready? Let's dive right in. We're kicking off today's episode with a wild discovery deep in the woods. A man on a hike stumbled across something very unusual. Take a look. He found what appeared to be a cave-like structure made entirely of twigs and sticks. It wasn't just a random pile, it was carefully built, almost as if something or someone had constructed it intentionally. Curious, he moved closer to the opening and peered inside. And that's when he saw it, a massive, white-furred paw lying inside the cave. Startled, he whipped out his phone, recorded the scene, and shared it online. Now, let's talk about this mysterious paw. Based on its size and unusual white fur, it clearly belonged to a huge creature. But what kind of creature? Well, that's where things get interesting. Some in the paranormal community believe it's the paw of the infamous Dogman, while others suggest it might be linked to an entirely different cryptid. Of course, skeptics argue it's probably just the paw of a bear, but the unusual color has left many scratching their heads. What do you think? Could this be proof of something extraordinary, or is it just a case of mistaken identity? Let us know your thoughts below. You know how in the cartoon Tinkerbell, the pixie dust sparkle trails behind the fairies as they fly? What if I told you something similar might exist in real life? Someone recently shared a fascinating piece of footage online. This video was taken one evening in Alabama. It shows a small glowing object zipping back and forth across the sky. What makes it truly magical is the shimmering trail of particles it leaves behind, just like the pixie dust we've seen in fairy tales. The person who filmed this phenomenon claimed it stayed visible for about 8 minutes before disappearing into the night. While skeptics chalk it up to a drone, a firefly, or some other explainable occurrence, the way it glowed and left that glittering trail doesn't seem very likely. So what if the creatures like fairies aren't just out of our imaginations? Pet owners often share eerie tales of their animals, and there's a common belief that animals can see things beyond human perception. Let me tell you about one such incident caught on camera.
Where's the ghost? Right there?
A woman was at her home with her little dog when out of nowhere, the dog started barking frantically, focusing on one particular spot in the room. The woman, puzzled by her pet's behavior, decided to start filming. To her, there was nothing unusual in sight, but the dog's reaction said otherwise. At one point, the dog even started to move backwards, still barking as if something invisible was approaching. Now here's where things get chilling. As you watch the footage closely, you'll notice something strange. Near a piece of paper on the floor, a dark, slithery shadow seems to snap toward the dog and then retreat. It's clear and unmistakable. Initially, skeptics claimed that the movement of the paper caused the shadow to appear, but look closely. The paper did not move at all. Bizarre, huh? While you ponder about that, take a look at these photos that were captured by a trail cam set up in the woods to, capture wildlife. Instead of that, however, it captured what you can see on your screen. Confused by what is being captured, the individual who set up the trail camera shared the image online, hoping to find answers, and that's how we also found it. Looking at the capture, we see a humanoid creature with what looks like 2 horns on its head. The trail cam only managed to capture 2 images, and despite the fact that the images were taken split seconds apart, only one of the images has the creature in it, which will suggest it was moving very fast. After critically analyzing the image, the paranormal community is split. Some believe this is the real image of a cryptid, possibly a rake. There are some who also think this might be an entirely new cryptid. You've seen the capture for yourself. What do you think? Next up, we have an astonishing discovery caught on a trail camera deep within the heart of the Congo forest. When the camera's owner reviewed the footage, he was left completely speechless, and you're about to see why. Captured in the dead of night, the footage reveals something extraordinary. A strange creature emerges, moving silently among the trees, but that's not all. As the clip continues, multiple creatures appear, slipping stealthily through the shadows of the forest. These aren't wolves, coyotes, or even bears. Their movements and appearance were unlike anything we've ever seen. Strangely enough, these creatures bore an uncanny resemblance to dinosaurs, specifically raptors. Now, let's talk about the location. The Congo forest. It's Africa's largest jungle and one of the most impenetrable regions on Earth. Scientists believe there are vast areas of the forest that remain completely unexplored, making it a hotspot for potential mysteries. Here's the big question. Could it be possible that some species of dinosaurs survived extinction, hiding away in these untouched corners of the ancient forest, or is there another explanation for these mysterious figures? Share your theories with us in the comments section. A woman working the night shift as a security guard shared a bone-chilling experience.
So, there is somebody standing right there. Oh, my camera just went out. But there's nobody over there. See? And he's gone. Oh my
According to her account, the night began like any other, a routine bunch of rounds through the facility, ensuring everything was secure. However, as she made her way through the premises, she couldn't shake off a strange sensation. It felt as if an unseen presence was lingering nearby. Later, when she returned to the monitoring room to watch the cameras, she noticed something peculiar. On the screen, there was a figure standing at the front gates. Startled, she decided to double-check by peering out of the window to confirm what she saw. But when she looked, the area was completely empty. No one was there. The unsettling encounter had left her shaken and puzzled. Was it a technical glitch on the camera or something far more eerie?
So, there is somebody standing, but there's nobody over there.
A man stumbled upon this massive creature clinging to the stem of a tree in his backyard. It wasn't just any insect. This thing was gigantic, about the size of a human head. Just look at it. It's not every day you see a bug that enormous. But how did it even get there? The man tried to identify the creature by searching online but came up empty-handed. This has left everyone scratching their heads. It doesn't look like a species of moth, beetle, or a cicada we're unfamiliar with. Perhaps it's an invasive creature that travels from another part of the world. Well, who knows? Julius, our science whiz, says it's probably AI, but hey, we're gonna keep an open mind about it. Our next clip was captured on a home ring camera on an 8th of December 2024. It did capture some truly bizarre footage that has left viewers stunned. Take a look. In the dark night, two glowing lights appear, flying silently across. One is in the lead, with the other following closely behind. Although the craft itself is invisible due to the darkness, the brightness of these lights is enough to suggest that something unusual is in the air. Now, let's think about this. It's highly unlikely that someone was out at this hour releasing fireworks. Not only do these lights lack the erratic bursts of fireworks, but they also move steadily across the sky in what appears to be a controlled manner. So could this be evidence of a UFO, or is there a more mundane explanation? Aaron, our in-house conspiracy expert, doesn't seem to think so, but what say you? Still on the topic of trail cams, a man set up his camera in a remote mountain area far from any human activity. This spot was known for its absolute solitude, which made what he discovered all the more disturbing. When he reviewed the footage, he came across this chilling image, a woman standing with her back to the camera. She appeared to be wearing a short dress, or perhaps it was just an oversized shirt. But it wasn't her clothing that made his blood run cold, it was her feet. They didn't look human at all. Instead, they resembled hooves. Considering the time and isolated location, the man is certain no one else was anywhere near the area, adding the extra layer of mystery to this unsettling discovery. What do you think? Could this be a prank, a trick of the light, or something far more sinister? Let us know your theories below.
What the fuck is that?
This next one was recently shared footage on TikTok detailing a series of unsettling encounters the one recording had with an apparition. In the first clip, he was out walking his dog when he noticed two glowing orbs in the distance. They hovered far ahead, and after a few seconds, they vanished without a trace. But that was not the end of it. Moments later, the eerie sound of footsteps began approaching him, though no one was visible. Then it appeared. A humanoid figure, not solid but more like an orange-tinted translucent shape resembling a person. In another instance, the same apparition was caught lingering in his front yard in the dead of night. The faint glow and otherworldly presence matched the figure from his earlier encounter. Most people are calling it a shapeshifter, but shapeshifters are believed to be tangible entities capable of taking physical form. But this apparition doesn't fit the description. It's not corporeal, yet it repeatedly makes itself known to him in unmistakable ways. What could this be? Disney has long been a hotbed for conspiracy theories, and some of them are quite unsettling. Let's take a look at a few examples. One of the most discussed topics involves Mickey Mouse himself. When the iconic Mickey Mouse silhouette is turned upside down, it spells the word wicked. This has led people to question whether there was a hidden message in Disney's designs. Then there's the Walt Disney signature. The way the letters W, D, and Y are styled bears a resemblance to the number 6. Put together, some interpret this as a covert reference to 666. Are these subliminal messages deliberately placed to hint at secret affiliations, or are they just coincidences blown out of proportion? It seems we're just a few years away from machines taking over. Take a look at this. This is Archax, a towering robot designed in Japan. What makes Archax incredible is that it's fully controlled by a pilot who sits inside. The mechanical giant stands at an impressive 15 feet tall and looks straight out of a sci-fi movie. But don't let its sleek design fool you. This thing has power. With one move, it looks like it could crush anything or anyone in its path. It's fascinating, but also unsettling. Could robots like Archax represent the future of warfare? Will battlefields soon be dominated by machines like this with humans piloting from within? It's a thrilling, yet chilling glimpse into what might lie ahead. What do you think? Are machines like our checks the future, or is this a step too far? Let's take a look at this next image. It's quite blurry, but there's something eerie going on here. This photograph was taken by a woman back in 2007. She was walking through an alley late at night when she started feeling uneasy. According to her, there was no one around. She kept looking back but didn't see anything unusual. Feeling alarmed, she held her phone behind her and snapped a few pictures as she continued walking. When she got home and examined the photos, that's when she noticed this. On the left side of the image, there's a shadowy figure. It looks like a person wearing a long coat, but it has an almost ghostly appearance. At first, you might miss it, but once you see it, it's hard to ignore. Just look at that. What could this figure be? The woman could not explain it, and to this day, she's no idea who or what was following her that night. Let's take a look at this next footage captured by a trail camera deep in the woods. At first, the video seems pretty ordinary. You see a deer grazing peacefully, minding its own business. But then, out of nowhere, something startles it. The deer looks up, freezes for a moment, and then bolts away as fast as it can. Now, deer are naturally jumpy creatures. As prey animals, they're hyper-aware of any sudden movements or sounds. But what could have spooked this one? At first, there doesn't seem to appear to be anything out of the ordinary. The other side of the woods looks calm and empty. However, zooming into the area where the deer was looking, you can make out a shadowy figure. It's faint, but it's shaped like a person moving through the trees. Could it be a hiker? Maybe. Perhaps a ghost hiker. The internet is packed with fascinating content, some of it real, some outright hoaxes, and others that leave us scratching our heads. Here's one that falls firmly into the not-so-sure category. Let's check it out and see what you think. A man set up a camera in the woods, connecting it to his phone for remote monitoring, and was casually watching the feed when something bizarre happened. Out of nowhere, a massive creature walked by, but here's the kicker. Only its legs were visible as it moved out of frame. The man was convinced he'd just spotted a dinosaur. Intrigued? Well, let's take a closer look at the footage. There it is. Strange, right? But after watching it a few times, I'm not so sure. To me, it looks almost like the legs of an elephant. The size and movement seem to fit. What about you? Dinosaur, elephant, or something else entirely? Let us know your thoughts below. Now let's dive into a piece of footage that might actually have some truth to it. A hunter was out in the forest when he stumbled upon this strange structure. It was made entirely of tree branches, carefully arranged to create some sort of fort on the ground. The setup reminds me of the Bigfoot structures that people often report seeing deep in the woods. So the man decided to set up a trail camera facing it directly at the structure. Then he left the camera there for a full 7 days to see if anything would happen. When the hunter returned to retrieve his camera and review the footage, he was shocked by what it captured. Behind the structure, partially obscured by a tree, stood a massive creature. You can clearly see its broad shoulders as it moves around. Even though the footage is a bit blurry, the creature's form is unmistakable. It's huge with an imposing frame. So what do you think? Could this be the real deal? A woman had put her baby to sleep one night and was keeping an eye on the child through the baby monitor. Sometime in the middle of the night, a child woke up, so she glanced at the monitor to check what was happening. That's when she noticed something strange. A baby was in the crib as usual, crawling on all fours, but facing the side of the crib that was near the wall. Now here's where it gets unsettling. When she looked at the wall, she saw the image of another child, an older one, crouched down, directly staring at the baby in the crib. That wasn't terrifying enough. At the top of the monitor image, there appeared to be the face of a man staring down at the baby as well. Here's the chilling part. The woman has only one child, the one in the crib. The other child on the floor, that wasn't hers. The image is a bit hazy, but the eerie clarity of the crouching child and the face above makes this sight even more haunting. Since that night, the woman no longer lets her baby sleep alone. She keeps the child with her at all times. But what are the entities in that room with the baby doing?
What is it? Raylan!
Two women were working a late-night shift and had stepped outside by the side of the road when they noticed something eerie in the darkness. There, in the shadows, was a strange figure. It had a human-like shape, but it wasn't solid. Instead, it appeared shadowy, blending into the dark surroundings. The way it moved toward them sent chills down their spines. Could this be one of those mysterious shadow people that many have reported encountering, or was it just a trick of the dim light?
What is it? Raylan!
I know you're tempted to think this is some devil worship, but it's not. Welcome to the Krampus parades, or Krampusschlaf. If you're hearing it for the first time, it refers to the traditional Alpine events in Austria, Germany, and nearby regions where performers dressed as the terrifying Krampus storm through the streets to scare and entertain. Wearing elaborate wooden masks, fur costumes, and clanging cowbells, these Krampuses chase spectators, creating a mix of fear and excitement. Rooted in pre-Christian pagan traditions, the parades celebrate Krampus, the demonic counterpart of St. Nicholas who punishes naughty children. It's often held in December around St. Nicholas Day. These wild events are filled with roaring laughter and fire-lit spectacles, blending folklore with festive fun. Is this something you would want to attend? Ever since I saw Aragog trying to eat people he considered friends, my fear of spiders has been heightened, and seeing this clip does not help matters. I know there are big spiders out there, but well, this one feels like it's abnormally large. This left me wondering if it was supernatural, which put me in my research mode. After lots of reading around, I'm certain that this might be the Goliath bird eater. For those unfamiliar with it, the Goliath bird eater is the world's largest spider by mass, native to the rainforests of South America, with a leg span reaching up to 12 inches and weighing as much as 6 ounces. Despite its name, it rarely eats birds, preferring insects, small mammals, and amphibians, and uses its intimidating size and urticating hairs to defense. Interesting, huh? Anyway, do you think I identified it correctly, or is there more to what we see here? If you were thinking that's the moon, you might have to think again. That's not the moon, and a few seconds in, it becomes apparent because we see smaller light sources hovering around this large light source. Naturally, when this was uploaded, it led to numerous debates. Some wanted to insist it was the moon. but the one who recorded stated the moon was also up that night in a different part of the sky. Going beyond the large light source, you have to wonder what the tiny moving ones are. Some think the whole thing is just a UFO moving through the sky with maybe smaller scout ships, whereas others think there's something wrong with the recording device and they're probably just spots. While that does sound logical, if they were just spots based on the camera's recording, then the one recording shouldn't have seen them with his or her naked eyes. Anyway, maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but what do you guys think? Now let's plunge into the mysterious depths of the ocean. A deep-sea camera positioned 421 meters underwater was quietly filming a squid when something extraordinary happened. Out of nowhere, a burst of light streaked across the screen, moving downward at an incredible speed. It was bright, luminous, and eerily swift, leaving scientists and viewers alike stunned. What could this be? Could it be a bioluminescent creature, a species yet to be discovered with abilities that seem almost otherworldly? Or perhaps it's something entirely different, like sonoluminescence, a phenomenon where intense sound waves in liquid create brief flashes of light. Take a closer look. What do you think? A new deep-sea life form, a natural phenomenon, or something we have never seen or began to understand? Let us know your theories below. This is a photograph of indigenous chiefs taken just years ago and displayed in the residential school in British Columbia. At first, it looks like a simple, solemn image, but when you look closer, focusing on the trees behind the men, something peculiar stands out. There, hidden among the foliage, is what appears to be a dark face. You can distinctly make out the eyes, nose, and mouth. It's haunting, to say the least. Could it symbolize something tied to the location's history? Perhaps a lingering spirit from the past? Water is a fundamental part of life on Earth, but here's a fascinating fact. Scientists believe that much of the water on our planet is older than the sun itself. Yeah, you heard that right. Older than the very star at the center of our solar system. Research suggests that water in the form of ice originated in interstellar space long before the sun and planets formed. It likely came from the solar nebula in its massive cloud of gas and dust that eventually coalesced to form our solar system. This ice carried in ancient molecules dating back billions of years, which eventually became part of Earth's oceans and other water systems. This doesn't mean Earth itself is older than the sun, but rather that the ingredients making up its water existed long before our solar system took shape. There are cultures that believe that our solar system once inhabited a superior race until a cataclysmic event wiped them out and restarted life as we know it, with humans being the superior race. If we're to believe this, those cultures are not entirely wrong. What do you think? China's latest tech innovation introduces a fascinating concept. It's a team of snail-inspired robots capable of remarkable collaboration. These robots, developed by researchers at a Chinese university, are designed to work together in dynamic environments. As seen in the demonstration, the snail bots can tackle obstacles by creatively using their collective abilities. For instance, when faced with a gap between two rocks, they climb on top of one another to form a makeshift bridge, allowing the group to continue moving seamlessly. Their ability to attach, balance, and cooperate with precision highlights their advanced design and potential. This innovation has exciting implications, particularly for tasks requiring teamwork in hard-to-reach or hazardous environments, such as disaster response, exploration, or even industrial automation. What are your thoughts on this unique robotic creation? A woman was standing on the side of the road when she experienced something truly baffling. She noticed, reflected in the glass near her, a car approaching her from the front. The headlights and the motion were clear, and it seemed like the car was heading straight toward her position. But then, as the car got closer, something inexplicable happened. Instead of coming from the front, as the reflection had indicated, the car suddenly appeared from behind her. It passed her from behind and drove away, leaving her stunned and confused. How could this be possible? Was it an optical illusion caused by the glass, or could it be something even stranger like a glitch? Julius looked at me funny after I said all this and asked me if I knew how reflections worked. Guys, is my paranormally blessed brain causing me to miss something? This next image comes from the infamous West Virginia Penitentiary, a place that once held some of the most hardened criminals. Known for its grim history, the prison has long been a hotspot for eerie tales and paranormal encounters. A visitor recently toured the site and snapped this photo. At first, nothing seems unusual, but when they got home and reviewed the pictures, they noticed something chilling. Take a closer look. There's a ghostly figure in the frame. It's translucent, but you can clearly make out skeletal, pale face. Places like this, steeped in history and tragedy, are often believed to harbor residual spirits. Could this figure be one of the penitentiary's past inmates, still lingering in the shadows of its dark corridors? A resident in the Netherlands recently shared this intriguing footage captured one evening. In the sky, there's a strange orb glowing brightly. Its light pulses, shining intensely for a moment, then dimly down before glowing again. With all the recent global frenzy surrounding UFO sightings, this footage raises questions. Could this be yet another sighting of an unidentified flying object? The way the light behaves is unusual, making it hard to dismiss it as a simple plane, drone, or weather balloon. When you hear Appalachian, you already know the story is about to take a wild turn. This footage was shared by a resident living near the Appalachian Mountains. Late at night, he was returning home when he noticed something strange in his neighbor's driveway. There on the lawn was the shape of what seemed to be an invisible creature. The faint outline of its form could just be made out, but it didn't seem to make sense. He stared at it for a while before realizing it looked like a goat standing there calmly munching on his neighbor's lawn. Take a look. Do you also see a goat or something else? The sun is undoubtedly one of the most powerful and untouchable forces in our solar system, a place where no human could ever survive, let alone approach. The extreme heat alone would melt anything that came close to it. But back in August, a baffling piece of footage emerged from Ohio. Someone captured what appeared to be the figure of a person silhouetted against the blazing sun. Take a moment to think about it. How could this even be possible? Humans can't fly unaided, and even if they could, no known technology could allow someone to withstand the sun's immense heat. And the figure doesn't appear to have any visible gear or protection. So what do you think this mysterious figure could be? When it comes to tales of spirits, science often explains these things away as nothing more than frequencies, waves, or illusions. But did you know that some of the world's most brilliant scientists and inventors speculated that these so-called spirits, entities, and higher beings might actually exist? Yes, Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison, two of history's greatest minds, were among those who entertained such beliefs. Back in 1901, Nikola Tesla published an article titled Talking with the Planets, where he claimed to have made contact with entities from beyond Earth. Using a device he created, Tesla reported hearing strange voices that sounded like beings communicating in an unknown language. Similarly, Thomas Edison, known for his revolutionary inventions, worked on something he called the spirit phone. This device, according to him, was designed to help communicate with spirits from the beyond. The audio you're hearing now is a representation of what Tesla described hearing: mysterious, otherworldly signals. What do you think? Could these scientists' legends have been onto something? Have you ever wondered why ants are so dedicated to carrying food back to their hidden nests? Well, prepare to have your mind blown. Humans aren't the only ones who go the extra mile to ensure there's food on the table. Even tiny creatures like ants have complex systems for survival. What you're looking at here are leaf-cutter ants, and their process is fascinating. These ants don't gather food for themselves directly. Instead, they bring leaves back to their nests, not to eat, but to feed a specific type of fungus. Here's the amazing part. The fungus depends on the ants to survive, as it can't get or process its own food. In return, the fungus produces gongolidia, tiny nutrient-rich structures that serves as the ant's primary food source. It's like a barter system between two completely different species. The ants produce food for the fungus, and the fungus gives back in the form of nourishment for the colony. Isn't it incredible how nature works? Let me tell you about this intriguing and hauntingly beautiful place, the island of Giola. It's off the coast of Naples, Italy. This small, picturesque island looks like a slice of paradise with its quaint charm and clear blue waters surrounding it. But don't let its serene appearance fool you. This island is said to carry a dark curse. The stories surrounding Giola are as mysterious as the island itself. Tragedy seems to follow its owners. Back in the 1920s, the owner at the time, a man named Hans Brons, met a gruesome end. He was found dead, wrapped in a carpet, under circumstances that remain murky. Not long after, his wife tragically drowned in the sea surrounding the island. But the misfortune did not stop there. A German industrialist who later bought the island succumbed to a fatal heart attack while staying there. Another owner, a Swiss writer, fell into despair and took his own life in a mental hospital. These stories are not all. Nearly every person who's owned it has faced some form of calamity. So is it a mere coincidence, or does this island indeed harbor a curse? The Loch Ness Monster is a subject of great debate, with some people believing it's real and others thinking it's just a case of mistaken identity. But which of these two camps holds the truth? Well, take a look at our next clip. A deep-sea diver was swimming with a camera, filming her. Right behind her, a huge creature comes swimming by. It was none other than the Loch Ness Monster. From the clip we see not one, but two of these creatures, and I must add that the clip does look convincingly real. Julius, however, begs to differ. He argues that the human behavior exhibited in the clip isn't very realistic. He notes that the humans in the clip didn't even react or act surprised when the creature appeared. That to him alone is a red flag. Even if the creature was not scary, there would have been a display of shock or surprise, since seeing something like that in the deep blue sea is bound to make anyone jumpy, no matter how experienced. I must say that his argument does make sense, but a part of me wants to believe this is real so bad that I'm willing to accept a third opinion that would side with me, no matter how ridiculous it sounds. So guys, what do you think, real or not? Let me know in the comments section. If you thought that was weird, wait till you see this next one. Yep. They look like they belong to a dragon. Don't ask me how I know that, well, they just do. The question now is, what is such a creature doing in such a place? I was getting ready to do a full expose on how dragons may be hiding in our forests until I took a second look at the clip. Those hands look like they belong to something rather enormous and huge. If they do, then holding on to such a branch should have caused it to break, or at least sway due to its weight. But here's the case, the branch is barely affected. This brought me to a conclusion. Either that's a super branch or the clip is fake. Which do you think it is? You know in cartoons how snowflakes look, beautiful patterns falling from the sky? A 60-year-old man recently had a delightful surprise during a snowfall. Accustomed to the usual snow dust, he found himself witnessing the intricate beauty of snowflakes for the first time, delicately falling from the sky.
Not that I'm a real snow aficionado, but I've never seen that.
Snowflakes are famous for their unique and captivating shapes, often looking like beautiful hexagonal crystals. Each flake has its special design, creating a collective display that's a breathtaking spectacle. Even though we've seen snowflakes in pictures, witnessing their real beauty in person can be a truly magical moment. At an unknown location, this footage was taken. Tiny lights are moving from the earth toward the heavens. I have never seen anything like it. It's a mesmerizing scene. For us humans, our minds are always ready to make sense of things they don't understand, which has led to many theories about this mysterious show. Some suggest that these bright trails mean that souls are leaving Earth, going through a meaningful and spiritual change. Others, influenced by Christian beliefs, consider the idea of the rapture, a moment when good souls rise to heaven. On the other hand, some people hold a different idea, suggesting that these lights could be spaceships leaving Earth, maybe because something bad is about to happen. And the list goes on and on. All these theories about what this could be are very disturbing, but we can't tell which is closer to the truth or not. What do you guys think? If you have other suggestions, let us know in the comments section below. Duendes are small humanoid creatures believed to be very mysterious, originating from Mexican cultures. Like every other paranormal creature, there are questions about whether they really exist or not. Take a look at this footage. A man was looking out for what he thought to be a rodent when out of nowhere something ran out from behind a wooden box and into a pipe laying on the ground. Take a good look at it again. Do you see that? It's very fast, so it's hard to tell its features. The only thing evident is that it's bipedal. So is this a duende or not? The speed and size of the creature make it difficult to identify clearly, leaving us to wonder about its true nature. What do you think of the whole thing, though? Share your thoughts. Do you know what's better than one bonus clip? 2 bonus clips. We've never done it before, but today we are. Can you tell us what this is? We've quizzed you before and no one had an answer. If we are able to get the right answer today, we've got something extra special for the one who discovers it. I'm going to keep a tight lip on the prize, but believe me when I say you would want this. Start your answer with the word special bonus. Tell us what exactly this is and give us one fact about it. All the best and good luck. Our eagle eyes will be watching. In the extremely cold and snowy land of Antarctica, where temperatures are bone-chilling and snowstorms are constant, life becomes surreal and full of challenges. In this footage, you can see a woman struggling to shut her door after it was forced open by the storm. Just look at how she is struggling. This snippet offers a glimpse into the harsh and demanding conditions that inhabitants and researchers in Antarctica contend with regularly. Antarctica's reputation as the coldest place on Earth is well deserved, with temperatures plummeting to extremes that test the limits of human endurance. The continent is not only known for its freezing temperatures, but also its relentless and unpredictable weather patterns. Snowstorms, often accompanied by strong winds, can transform the landscape into a hostile and unforgiving terrain. Surviving in Antarctica demands special skills and resilience to the harsh climate and navigate through the unpredictable elements. Hold on to your hats, folks. In this interview, we catch wind of an astonishing claim. Scientists may have the keys to extending our lifespans, all by tinkering with our very own genome.
Unnecessary. We'll just mess with the genome and you live forever.
Mess with the genome.
Yeah, just change the genes in a way so that they don't age. We're much closer to that than separating your brain out, putting it
with mice already,
and putting it in a jar.
They're doing that with mice.
There are ways we can prolong the life of other animals, but they don't live forever. They just live longer than they otherwise would have. So I think we're much closer to that manipulation of the genome than removing the brain from your skull and sticking it in a jar.
Yes, you heard that right. No need to transfer our consciousness into futuristic robots. The fountain of youth might be in the hands of genome-tweaking scientists. But pause for a moment. Let that sink in. And if this is indeed true, it makes you wonder about all those potential cures sitting somewhere in someone's cabinet, doesn't it? Could the secrets of conquering disease like cancer be tucked away in the intricacies of our genetic makeup?
Yeah, just change the genes in a way so that they don't age.
Take a look at this next footage taken from a security camera in a home. The dog is seen sitting on the floor, minding its own business. It looks to be chewing something, perhaps a bone or a toy. Out of nowhere, this happens. An unseen force suddenly moves the dog to the other side of the room. At first, I thought the dog moved by itself, but that would be just unnatural. Having looked at the clip several times, I agree it's quite unusual and disturbing, but I just can't put my finger on what's behind the whole thing. What could have caused this? There are no visible signs of anything or anyone around that could have moved the dog so abruptly. Is it a paranormal occurrence, or is there a more logical explanation we might be missing? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Hotels are very convenient when you travel to a new place and need a place to sleep or a roof over your head. However, I came across this footage that just unlocked a new type of fear for me. In the first clip, a man was in his assigned room when he saw something alarming. A tool was being passed beneath the door, attempting to unlock it. Someone was using this device to try and gain access to the room. As soon as the man noticed this, he yelled out and the person ran away. In a similar instance in the next clip, someone tied a metal hook to a rope and, like in the previous footage, passed it under the door, attempting to open it. Fortunately for the one in the room and unfortunately for the other person, the door was locked and the individual was aware. Imagine if the opposite was the case. This could have led to a tragic situation. If there's anything to learn from this clip, it's to always make sure you keep your hotel doors locked, stay vigilant, and prioritize your safety while traveling. In the streets of Oregon, a man captured a peculiar sight. The tarred road was steaming hot, and the tar itself seemed to be melting.
Yeah, they say this is a volcano 100 years ago, but...
The initial interpretation was that it might be a volcano, perhaps reawakening after centuries of dormancy. In situations like this, the initial interpretation often leans towards more sensational and extraordinary explanations. However, subsequent information debunked the volcanic theory. It turns out that the phenomenon was more grounded in the infrastructure beneath the surface. The steaming and melting were attributed to a hot water pipe leak. Funny, right? In 2023, a group of people had a serene visit to Lake Huma in Australia, looking forward to enjoying the tranquility of the waterside. However, their peaceful time was unexpectedly interrupted by a mysterious and unsettling sound that seemed to emanate from beyond the lake.
We're up at Bonnie Down.
The nature of the sound raised eyebrows among the visitors, as it was not akin to typical animal noises or the familiar hum of machinery. The noise, characterized by its unusual and eerie quality, sparked curiosity and a sense of intrigue among those present. When confronted with such unexplained sounds in natural settings, various factors come into play. It could be attributed to wildlife, atmospheric conditions, wind patterns, or even geological activities in the vicinity. On the other hand, human-made sources such as distant machinery or industrial processes could also contribute to such auditory phenomena. However, since none of these was confirmed, we're left to wonder what this could be.
You can hear that, right?
Yeah, what is it?
I've got no idea.
It is strange.
Have you heard the latest buzz? Cicadas are taking over the country by the trillions, creating a scene straight out of a science fiction novel. These rapid mating insects are not just increasing in numbers, some cicadas can become infected with a fungus that alters their behavior, earning them the nickname zombie cicadas. Each female cicada can lay up to 400 eggs over several weeks, but that's not all. These zombie cicadas release spores that could turn other cicadas into zombies, causing a ripple effect of widespread infection. It's an insect invasion on an unprecedented scale. The impact of this phenomena isn't limited to the ground. Birds that prey on these zombie cicadas can end up hallucinating due to the spores. So it's not just the sheer number of cicadas that's alarming, but the ripple effects on the ecosystem. And then there's the noise. If you've ever heard cicadas in full swing, you know they are loud. Now imagine trillions of them emerging simultaneously, creating a sound comparable to a chainsaw. The constant hum and buzz are said to redefine the meaning of noise pollution. Next, we got a clip recorded by a late-night driver who was on the highway, all alone with no cars in sight when something bizarre happened. Yes, a white cloth did appear out of nowhere, floating mid-air on the side of the road. You don't need to be told this is bizarre and rather unnatural. The question on his mind and everyone else's who saw this clip was, where did this come from? The mystery of the floating cloth adds a mysterious yet unsettling element to what should have been an uneventful drive. The driver never met another car ahead, never received an explanation for what he saw. Some paranormal enthusiasts think it might be a ghost, but this is one that's considered a large pill to swallow by even enthusiasts like Aaron. But you guys have seen the clip, and what do you think? We hear a lot of conspiracies surrounding ancient technology, with many speculating that advanced tech existed centuries ago. Over time, several artifacts have surfaced that seem to support these claims. One of the more mysterious discoveries happened years ago in Mexico, when deep-sea researchers stumbled upon something truly extraordinary. While exploring an underwater cave system in the ocean, they came across a massive cave with hundreds of openings. Inside one of these caves, they discovered a human skull. Curious, they retrieved the skull and handed it over to experts for examination. The experts expected many things, but finding a microchip embedded in something that ancient was not one of them. Although this discovery wasn't elaborated on further, many believe that the chip is evidence of some kind of advanced technology that was possibly used by people in the distant past. Could this be proof that ancient civilizations were far more advanced than we've ever imagined? A chunk of the internet believes so. Others also think such beliefs are ludicrous, to say the least. What do you think? While you share your thoughts on that one, we travel back in time to Northern California on New Year's Day 2020, where this unusual photo was taken. Imagine you're hiking through the remote, towering peaks of Northern California on New Year's Day 2020. The air is crisp, the sky expansive, and the isolation of the trail is almost palpable. Then, out of the corner of your eye, you catch sight of something strange. A tall, dark figure looming just over the ridgeline. That's exactly what happened to the lady who captured and shared this image online. Naturally, this has stirred up quite the debate online, with everyone chipping in their thoughts and feelings. Some in the community analyzed the image and were struck by the size of the figure. By comparing its height to the surrounding geography, they estimated it to be around 7 to 8 feet tall, which makes it a massive creature by any standard. Zooming in makes the image even more interesting. The figure appears to have distinct facial features, including a conical head, which is a characteristic often associated with Sasquatch sightings. Some skeptics suggest it could just be a black bear with its posture and movement distorted by the camera angle. But the silhouette, when scrutinized, seems to align more with the descriptions of a Sasquatch than a bear. Aaron believes it's more Sasquatch than bear, whereas Julius thinks there's not much to go on with considering the quality of the image. Naturally, other team members who were also big fat enthusiasts felt this is a good capture of the big guy. I would sit on the fence for this one, but I've laid out the facts and I'm curious to know what you think. Care to share in the comments section. It's fascinating that monkeys are the closest animals to humans, but does that mean they can behave like humans when trained? Well, take a look at this next clip.
Are unique in the eyes of God. Now, there appears to be a beast that can talk.
You see it too, don't you? There's an ape wearing glasses and talking. There are all sorts of things wrong with the clip at just the first glance. There's an ape dressed up, wearing glasses and talking. He's not just saying random things. No, sirree. He's actually speaking English. He appears to be talking about God, too. There's something about the way he speaks that makes it look like he's addressing a crowd or lecturing. Is this real or even possible? The simple answer is no. The complex answer is still no. But we can see him or it speaks. How? Well, some of my team members are convinced that's definitely a human being in a mask, and I'm tempted to side with them. But what if by some slim and unlikely chance this is real? Wouldn't that change everything we know about apes? Well, what am I saying? What do I even know? Clearly not much if I'm conflicted about this. Perhaps you guys can help. What do you think we're dealing with here? Share your thoughts in the comments section. I'll be reading.
It's the devil's hand, and I'm cool. Behold, the pale horse.
Do demons and demon lords exist? Before you say no, take a look at this clip. Who or what is that? Am I the only one who sees a possible demonic overlord with horns? Now that I've said it out loud, it sounds ridiculous, but hear me out. You see the garment and possible horn, right? Tell me that doesn't look like a demon overlord. Well, it's either a demon overlord out there deciding whether to destroy those is watching over, or there's a man with a sick Halloween costume. What's your money on? Our next footage was taken from the dark side of the moon.
Found in the 3-mile-long ancient craft on the back dark side of our moon.
So what is the discussion in detail back in 1976 between you and Commander Rutledge about this extraordinarily beautiful Polynesian-looking preserved female in one of the cockpit chairs?
Neither of us could understand how could she possibly be that well preserved.
And what is it that you're looking at first?
Her skin was all intact, and she was wearing clothing, a dress of some sort, possibly a jumpsuit type of thing. And it seemed to be very much intact, no deterioration at all to speak of.
Researchers who visited the moon years ago discovered a peculiar and extraordinary sight. A spacecraft with a woman strapped into one of the chairs in the cockpit. She's a beautiful woman, unmistakably of African descent, and her body is remarkably well preserved. She has a distinct protrusion on her forehead. According to the reports, she was wearing a jumpsuit and initially had medals connected to her face in a manner that suggested they were linked to her brain, possibly to control the spacecraft. The medals were later removed, but their presence hints at a form of technology far more advanced than we have today, yet it appears ancient. This intriguing discovery has led to many speculations and theories about who she was and the civilization she belonged to. The researchers who found her have referred to her as the Black Mona Lisa of the Moon, owing to her enigmatic presence and the mystery surrounding her. I even felt shy to bring this up to Julius, but once I did, he only laughed. The laugh was so sarcastic it hurt my soul. You know what? Let's just move on to the next clip.
Neither of us could understand how could she possibly be that well preserved. Her skin was all intact, and she was wearing clothing, a dress of some sort, possibly a jumpsuit type of thing. And it seemed to be very much intact, no deterioration at all to speak of.
So I see this straw moving around. I'm just sitting here at the school, getting ready for class, and this straw is just moving back and forth, and I'm like, what the hell? There's a fucking ghost in here or what?
I've seen and shared a lot of strange things, but if anyone told me I was going to be showing you guys a clip of a straw moving by itself today, I would have laughed. But then again, here we are. This man was allegedly waiting for his kids at school when he noticed the straw moving around in the cup. He started recording and was wondering if it was a ghost. Personally, I find that funny. But do tell me something. Would you drink this after the straw stops moving around, or would you throw it out so the ghost can go drink it since it likes it so much? Let me know in the comments section. Who knows, I might just send one of you to test your resolve.
Getting ready for class, and this straw is just moving back and forth, and I'm like, what the hell? There's a fucking ghost in here or what?
Assalamualaikum.
Next, we've got another strange clip where a man appears to be interviewing a strange-looking older individual. The man being interviewed has a pure white beard, but his body has a unique and distinctive appearance. His face, shoulders, and chest are a blend of dark and white colors, suggesting that he might have vitiligo. Additionally, his arms look very shrunken, adding to his unusual appearance. Throughout the interview, he only says batata repeatedly when the microphone is placed before him. It seems like the man might have a deformity or a condition that affects his physical condition and speech. This footage raises many questions about his background and condition. If anyone has any insights or information about this individual or his condition, please share your thoughts in the comments below.
Swear to God, that's a fucking person. Dude, flash the light! If you're a person, flash the light!
This footage surfaced on the internet and left a lot of people puzzled. It was posted by a girl who was out one night in her neighborhood when she spotted something strange in the sky. It was a mysterious figure floating in the air. The girl was convinced that it was a human up there, so she yelled out to the figure to flash a light if it was a person, and after a few seconds, there you have it. The figure flashed a light. The next time you see a mysterious being in the sky, never ask it to flash a light, but what could be going on there? Is this some new type of hoax, or did we just witness a person floating in the sky? This incident leaves us with more questions than it does with answers. Aaron is convinced this has got to be a witch, but what do you guys think is happening here? Share your thoughts in the comments section.
That's a fucking person. Dude, flash the light! If you're a person, flash the light!
Do you trust self-driving cars? If your answer was no, then it might interest you to know that there are some using the feature on their Teslas.
There's no way it doesn't see the 4 flashing lights. Yes, it was foggy, but you could still see the lights. And I was like, it's going to stop. It's going to stop.
This clip was recorded by a Tesla owner who had left his car in full self-driving mode, and it shows the moment a Tesla vehicle failed to stop for a moving train ahead of them. The whole thing is crazy because if the man hadn't manually applied the brakes, the vehicle would have run into the train. Yes, it was foggy, but he believes the car should still have picked the train up, yet it didn't. Fortunately, he survived, but it's got us wondering, can we really trust our self-driving cars at this point in time?
There's no way it doesn't see the 4 flashing lights. Yes, it was foggy, but you could still see the lights. And I was like, it's going to stop. It's going to stop.
Stepping away from strange and bizarre-looking animals, let's take a look at strange or gifted humans, as some like to. Now let's switch to some news from America.
America's largest city is bracing for an invasion of unwanted 8-legged visitors this summer. Look at these guys. They're large yellow and black critters. They're called Jaro spiders. They're originally from Asia, but since 2010, they've been spotted in nearly a dozen states between Florida and Ohio.
Meet the Jaro spider, an 8-legged web weaver that is said to be invading the East Coast. These spiders have impressive 4-inch legs and are known to be venomous. Originally native to Asia, they seem to have traveled all the way to America by air or human activities, but I prefer the air. And yes, you heard that right. Spiders flying in the air. These guys are actually capable of flight, and they achieve this by releasing silk strands into the air, allowing them to be carried by the wind. While they are indeed venomous, it's important to note that their venom is not considered dangerous to humans. Still, the idea of flying spiders is enough to give anyone the creeps. So if you're in America and gearing up for a hot summer in your bikinis and shorts, watch out for these guys. They might just drop in unannounced. In the dead of night, a man was jolted awake by a persistent knocking on his front door. Groggy and curious, he decided to investigate. As he cautiously opened the door, he was met with a terrifying sight that would haunt anyone's dreams. Reaching toward him was a slender, deathly figure. The creature, standing at an unnerving height of about 8 feet, had skin that appeared dry and lifeless. Its face was a nightmare come to life. Where its eyes should have been were only hollow voids, adding to its ghastly appearance. Reacting quickly, the man slammed the door shut, his heart racing. Thankfully, his house was equipped with a burglar-proof door, providing a barrier that this horrifying entity could not breach. The man's quick thinking and the sturdy door were his saving grace that night. But what was this creature? I guess that's a question we may never really have answered. Next, we got a man who was out in the woods filming what seemed to be a survival series. It was close to sundown, and as darkness started to settle in, he was preparing for the night ahead. But then, out of nowhere, he heard something, a man screaming. He followed the sound, cautiously making his way through the trees, and then he saw it. In the open field, there was a silhouette of a man standing completely still, stiff as a statue. The figure wasn't moving, but it was yelling for help over and over again, with no visible signs of injury or distress. The man filming was frozen with fear, unsure of what to do next. Should he approach the person and risk being in a trap, or should he stay put and retreat? There are countless stories of creatures like skinwalkers, mythical beings that can mimic human voices to lure people in. These creatures are said to imitate cries for help, drawing unsuspecting victims close enough to capture them. On the other hand, we can't ignore the possibility that dangerous individuals could use this same tactic to bait victims in isolated places. In such a situation, I'm not sure what I'd do either. The lack of movement from the figure, despite the cries for help, would definitely set off alarm bells. Would you risk going closer, or would you trust your instincts and stay far away from whatever or whoever was making that sound? Speaking of giant birds, take a look at this footage captured by a woman hiking in New Jersey. She recorded the clip after coming across some unusual prints on the ground.
They're bigger than my foot. Here's another one. I'm a size 10.
These bird-like footprints were massive and about the size of her own size 10 feet. That's way too large for any regular bird you'd expect to find in the area. Given the odd nature of the discovery, she naturally uploaded online, which sparked a debate. Some speculated that it could be the mark of a dinosaur-like creature, hinting at something prehistoric still roaming the earth. While that sounds intriguing, many were of the view that it was not possible given the fact that dinosaurs have been, well, extinct. Some also recounted that there have been legends of giant birds, like the thunderbirds in Native American lore, which are said to have enormous wingspans and leave prints that could match this description. Not sure which sounds more believable, dinosaurs or thunderbirds, but what are your thoughts?
They're bigger than my foot. Here's another one. I'm a size 10.
Witches in various cultures are depicted in different ways. Some believe them to be women on flying brooms at night, while others think of bloodthirsty, wicked-looking beings. There's so much variety across many cultures that the subject is interesting. Take this clip, for instance. A man was out with his friends one night when, out of nowhere, from a distance, people in white robes started to approach them. These white-robed individuals were standing on what looked like a cliff or wall. It's hard to tell with the quality of the footage, but one of them jumped down. Or perhaps more like floated down toward the man and his friends. He was so scared that you could literally tell based on how he screamed as the white-robed beings approached him. Now, he called them witches in his language, but the question on everyone's mind is, are they really witches? Julius, our in-house scientist, thinks it's ridiculous to call them witches. He thinks there are two likely scenarios. Either his friends are playing a prank on him, or it's a hoax. Aaron, our conspiracy theorist, however, thinks this might be the real deal. Personally, I've chosen to sit on the fence on this one. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Tell me, what do you guys think about it?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. شو هذا؟ أعوذ بالله. تعشق البنت.
Now, I've seen a lot of strange things in my day, but this is a whole new level of weirdness. We're not told where this was filmed, only that a man was exploring an area when he came across this. It looks like a tiny woman dressed in interesting clothes sitting in the middle of nowhere. When I first saw this, I thought it had to be a movie scene, but it doesn't look like it. This left me with one thought. She's either a spirit, goddess, or, simply put, a witch. I know that sounds stereotypical, but how do you explain this? Anyway, share your thoughts. I'd really like to hear them.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. شو هذا؟ أعوذ بالله. تعشق البنت. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
A group of women were on a boat ride across a lake when they noticed something strange emerging from the water. What they saw was the mouth and small part of the head of a very dark black-looking creature. The creature lingered just above the water's surface, but the rest of its body remained submerged. From what they could see, it was extremely long, like a massive snake or serpent. While some people speculated that it might have been a large pike, Aaron suggested it could be something more unusual, perhaps a water monster, maybe even a gigantic serpent or something similar to the Loch Ness monster. What do you think? Could this be an enormous fish, or does it point to something more mysterious lurking beneath the surface? Looks magical, doesn't it? My first thought when I saw this was, this must be nice. I felt like whoever recorded this must be living in some kind of fairy tale dream from when I was a child. That was at least the case until I looked in the comments section. There were some individuals from war-torn areas who could swear on their lives that this was definitely white phosphorus. When I came across the term, I didn't know what it was until I Googled it. Apparently, white phosphorus is a highly reactive toxic substance that appears as a waxy white solid that can spontaneously ignite in the air, causing severe burns and health risks upon exposure. It's used in military applications for creating smokescreens and incendiary devices, and in what the chemical industry is producing phosphoric acid and phosphates. Due to its toxicity and environmental persistence, it must be handled with extreme care, stored underwater or in an inert atmosphere, and regulated strictly to prevent harm to humans and ecosystems. So basically, it's supposed to be associated with bombs and explosives. I refuse to believe that's what's going on here, but then again, the world can be a cruel place. Julius thinks the magical part of this clip is animated, while other team members are a bit saddened by this discovery. Any experts on the subject here? Is this really white phosphorus? If it is, are those who are recording the clip going to be alright? Please let us know. We've talked about Mars missions and the pioneers of space exploration on this channel, but did you know there's a wild coincidence involving Elon Musk in a 1953 book by Wernher von Braun? Hold on to your seats.
When can we expect the first humans to set foot on Mars?
Best case is about 5 years, worst case 10 years.
So in 1953, von Braun wrote a book called Project Mars. In this book, he envisions a mission to the Red Planet led by a man named Elon who establishes a Martian government. Sounds eerily familiar, right? Fast forward to today, and Elon Musk has a plan to send 1 million people to Mars by 2050 and start a colony. Do you think the writers of the past could see the future? Well, Julius isn't convinced about the significance of this coincidence, but Aaron believes it and is getting ready to do a big documentary. What do you think? Are we looking at a mere coincidence, or is there something more to this cosmic alignment?
When can we expect the first humans to set foot on Mars?
Best case is about 5 years, worst case 10 years.
Do you see anything unusual? No? Well, take a look at the left side of the capture. Do you see it now? A family went out but realized their home security cameras were picking up movements. This prompted them to review the clip, and they saw what looked like a ghostly girl standing in the corner. They asked it to get out, but perhaps, if it were me, I'd be the one getting out because I don't think I'd be winning in a battle with an evil spirit. What say you? And with that, we end today's episode. Thanks for staying with us. Before you go, are there clips and videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't? Well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have. Share this video with someone you love, and I'll see you in the next one.